There we go. All right. So, hey. Oh, wait. Let's see. Howdy, everybody. It is Sunday, June 28th, and this is the third weekly bulletin in the new Ration Museum reboot series. So, how's everybody doing? Let's do some hellos. I see, we already got a bunch of folks in chat. We got Smitty, we got Xenosaga, Kester's Corner, welcome. We got JW Speaker MRE, welcome. Welcome back, Eric's MRE Reviews, and Kalen Strain, welcome. Good to have you guys again. Saw some of you over on Old Smokey's stream last night. I did get to jump in for just a little bit while they were looking through that case of dark brown MREs. So I wasn't the first to guess right around 1990, so it sounded like that's about where it ended up. Hopefully you got to try some of that grape jelly. I know that, it doesn't sound like it should be fun, but it was probably fine. We'll see. I don't know. I'm sure I'll get a chance to bring that up in a bit. So, hope everybody's having a good weekend. I think the last we talked, it was Father's Day. Hope that went well for everybody and anybody that couldn't be here because it was Father's Day. No hard feelings. We're all still here. So I did some tweaking with the colors on the graphics. I mean, not graphics compared to like the other projects and stuff out there, but let's do that. But just in terms of trying to make it a little more readable, I didn't realize how awful it was. But we're gonna look through some other boxes from the museum in a little bit. But first, I wanted to give everybody an update. Hey, Aletha, welcome to the stream. Gail, welcome. Hope your week's going good, both of you. Hope everything at the packaging facility is going good, Gail. So in between the last stream and this stream, we got the Slack channel approved as a registered nonprofit. Oh, let me see if I can keep this from doing that bouncy. There we go. Sorry about that. I just realized I was doing that. So we got the Slack set up, approved as nonprofit. Our team size is okayed up to 250, so we can grow into that over years. It's a permanent approval. So it's we had initially just immediately gotten approval because of everything that's going on right now with COVID and everything. They thought we were applying for that. And I kind of feel like it's because I filled out a form that said we were. Sorry. Yeah, I applied for the wrong form, and then a minute later sent them a message. It's like, hey, applied for the wrong form. Please undo that. Here's the correct form. And they're like, it's nice of you to say that, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt anybody else's stuff, and your other form's approved. So, welcome. And that lets us send large files, do video conferencing, schedule meetings, use as many plugins and tie-ins as we want. And that Slack, now that I'm really looking at everything, is where we'll run like weekly meetings on what we're going to try and get accomplished in the background for the museum, what fundraiser goals we're working on, or what contacts we're trying to make, or what anybody needs to try and do their part of trying to help the museum move forward. That's where we'll do it. So if you look, it's like Zoom. Yeah, like when, say, 20 people are in one big conference and everybody's webcams are in and it's all taken over. It's like having a Zoom meeting. It's like one of the 100 features that are in this platform. So it covers a lot of needs for like the actual like administration and those kind of teams. But I think I'm also going to now make a Discord for everybody that wants to just chat about the museum and stay up to date and get notifications and that kind of stuff for when we do live streams, or if we do like events that aren't necessarily in the normal time, or so that as everybody that's working on the project has stuff to announce, they can announce it to the wider group. So we'll have the Slack and we'll have the Discord. I know right now that's pretty much what we're doing, is setting up all these tools. So that's what some of these bulletins will be about, at first at least. So now, if you look down in the description, there's a link right at the top for the volunteer form. So when I get a volunteer form filled out, I will send a Slack invite to that person immediately. So that'll be for anybody that wants to, volunteer some time or help towards any of the causes that we need help with, and that's, setting up and administrating email across the company. The company, but setting up and helping with the different tools and stuff that we use. Like for right now, I'm looking at getting the best donation tracking system set up so that we can make sure we can do specific goals and progress reports and rewards and that kind of stuff. So we're doing GoFundMe, and I applied for GoFundMe Charity Edition, and looks like we got approved. We're just going through the last day or so of that back and forth too. So there's a lot of stuff going on. So we want to use all that. So when you fill out the volunteer form, you don't have to have a Slack account already. You don't have to have a Discord account already. We'll just send an invite to the email on that, and that's if, say, hey, I know how to do Google AdWords management. Do you need some help? Yes, we do. We really do. Please reach out. Fill out that form that's down there, and we'll figure that out as soon as we can. Right now, it's just trying to gather info about who can help with what, and then hopefully within another week to 2 weeks, get an actual official meeting where everybody that's reached out and is, has heard back, and we've gone and tried to, get on the same page about like what we're all trying to do. Like we'll have a quick chat about that together, hopefully one weekend day or one weeknight, whatever seems to work the most for, depending on who all is involved at that point. So over the next few weeks, just looking for folks to, sign up through that and see, hey, I can write a blog post once a month or something like that. You never know. Like everything's gonna help when enough people are doing like a little tiny thing here and there. It really, really makes, the whole organization move forward and look a lot more official, in the sense that we're actually a group of people that care about the same thing and want to see it happen. So this is our goal there. So that's nonprofit Slack, nonprofit version of GoFundMe, and the big news. Oh, and hey Fordman, welcome. Good to see you again. The big news for this week is I've got potentially the first officially leased space for the museum. Just going over the last, back and forths, and it is, I think, an approachable spot for the next year of trying to get things lined up, being able to have a place where people can come in and help, and where we can photograph things and film little video clips and stuff. Just a really simple spot, and it's $400 a month for us, and it's not big, but we're not trying to be big. But for $400 a month, I think we can actually have a spot that is the museum's, official business address instead of business forwarding, to something else. And being able to actually get insurance on the items as kept in a business as opposed to a residence and all that kind of stuff. So Slack is just it's just another chat and video conferencing and everything tool, but it's more used by companies than by like friends trying to share access, because like Discord you can use for free like everybody can just tie into all these discords. Like I have one for my arcade channel stream where there's nobody on it, but like every other little stream, people have their own discords and they have their little they have conversations going, silos, and everything's just fans and friends and etc. But Slack is more, you pay to have the messages backed up and available for proving, communication or whatever for anything like that. You have encryption and data protection services. You have all kinds of team management tools and time management and overview tools, and then all the conferencing and that kind of stuff. So and then it ties into a lot of other nonprofit systems that we're going to be using. Like I think last week I mentioned Asana is this goal tracking system we'll use. It very soon I'll have everything in a neat little document that everybody can take a look at, and anybody that needs to know any part of it will have it there. But for the most part, it's all just good to have things that nobody's going to need to worry about. Like, oh, I'm going to have to take a seminar on what the heck Slack is and figure out how to do it. It's just it's not much different than the chat, or wait, the chat, just private for us and official. Yeah, yeah. Any gamer tends to have for years I felt like it was Mumble and then Trilio, and Slack is just Discord is just the modern better version of all those, and quality and ease of use. So we'll get that so that folks can just chat and share whatever they need to share, because then you can send links, you can send pictures, you can start you can start events, whatever we need to do. Yeah, I'm sure I still have accounts to vent somewhere. So that's the last week in terms of trying to get systems still lined up. I know I have to get back to a lot of folks, and then I'm going to try and translate some of what you've already sent in before that form existed into a form, so you don't have to redo it. But if you want to save me some time, anybody that reached out early on that wants to go and just fill out that form would help, just in trying to help figure out what we're going to do first and who we can pair up with who, so that we all have something to work towards. No, I don't need Last of Us 2 spoilers. Well, I mean, I guess I don't really mind, but I'm sure some folks wouldn't want them. I had watched a little bit of a friend streaming this week on Twitch. There's one game I'm looking forward to in the next year, and that's Cyberpunk, but we'll see if that comes out in 2020 at all. I think it's November now. But I do want to thank everybody again that has been reaching out, connecting. It might seem like a slow start, but I promise you this is a lot on my side, in addition to the schedule that I've been putting myself through over the last couple weeks. So once things are evening back out again, work-wise, and with the other stream, then this will get ramped up and fill the gap. I won't take a break. I'll ramp this up, and we'll start getting some videos up on the channel, and we'll get this fundraiser going soon, because essentially we're looking for 4,800 will cover the first year's entire release, and then we know we have a temperature-controlled, safe, controlled access space that we can, with a shared conference room, with presentation resources, with all that other stuff. And it's I believe they're renting it normally for about $1,000 a month. It's not a huge space. It's only maybe a third to maybe 50% bigger than what we're in with the physical footprint of all this stuff so far. But for us, it's going to be 400. So as soon as I think I'm able to cover the first month or two, I'm saying yes to that, and then we'll get a fundraiser going, and then I'll get this scheduled and moved, and we'll have an official headquarters in Philadelphia in an actual building in 2020, in a hopefully by maybe even the end of July. So we'll see. That's what we'll be shooting for, and then we'll get a campaign up to track progress towards that 4,800, so that we can make sure everybody's in the loop and can have something to point to and share. And because we'll be on the charity version of GoFundMe, we can make sure that everything is as minimum in terms of fees and that kind of stuff on top of everything, and as much of every dollar that comes in goes to the actual museum goal. And then we can tie it in and say this budget goal was from this fundraiser, and here we go. Here's what we did with it. We have a headquarters, and then we can decide as a team in that Slack what we want to focus on as the next goal, and the next goal, and the next goal, and it'll be what's realistic, what can we do together, and what isn't going to ever, take advantage of this great community's generosity and help. So we're going to be trying to get as many people aware. We don't want to just have us, the same people, carry this all the way through. We want to make sure we reach a wide audience. We want to make sure that as many people as we can are getting the message about what what ration history means, not just to us but to them, to their own lives, how it's affected what they eat today in ways that they didn't know until they had an opportunity to talk to somebody like us. So Amtrak, yeah, the trains are still going in and out. They're probably on a reduced schedule. I don't know. I just saw that. So most of the public transit stuff has slowed down quite a bit, but the bulk of it's still running. During the beginning of the month, there was a couple chunks of the city where everything was shut down in terms of just absolutely no transit, no buses, no anything, barricades and National Guard patrolling. But that's its own thing. Right now, I believe the whole city's accessible. I didn't mention. So right now, the location is in Old City, Philadelphia. It's about a block from the Museum of the American Revolution. So it's just a block or two from Betsy Ross's house, and another couple blocks from the first post office. So even though it wouldn't necessarily be a come on in and take a tour of the whole collection, since it would still be mostly storage and having a space to photograph and document and share what we can one piece at a time, and then fully properly archive it so that we know when we're putting it back away that it's going to be as safe as it can be for years. That'll be the first goal, and then we can expand from there. But still, knowing it's right there, we can potentially have folks that are coming into town for one of the other museums and doing a whole experience there that are aware of the Ration Museum and want to come by and shake hands and take a look at what we've got and see if being this close to it will have an effect on them. Oh, fireworks. Yeah. I I don't mean to go into too much of a tangent, but it's everywhere. It's everywhere in the country. At first, I just thought, oh, it's all over my neighborhood, and then no, everybody's saying, oh, it's all over the city, and then it's everywhere. About like 9:30 at night, every night, fireworks, and uh, there's a lot of folks. Not there's a lot of folks. There's a lot of animals. There's a lot of good reasons out there to not just always shoot off fireworks at unexpected times all the time in a large population. Some folks don't need unexpected explosions in their lives, let alone all the time. Just for months. I mean, going on like 2 months now, or a month and a half now. Anyway, yeah. So I saw that in the chat. Had to just comment. It's been weird. Yeah, dogs aren't. I mean, yeah, I'm not a fan. I mean, I'm not afraid. Or, sorry, I'm not aware of many dogs that aren't afraid of fireworks to some degree. Most seem to get pretty upset by them. So it's every now and then you find one that's okay with them, and that's the rarity. So imagine how many dogs in how many cities for how long now are being put through their own little micro hell every night. I don't know. It's a weird one that keeps happening there. And I've got folks telling me it's not just even in the cities. I know folks that live 30, 40 minutes out into the country, not country, but out into the suburbs around Philly that it's still going on. And, like I said, not just Philly, it's everywhere. I've seen reports from everywhere. So I was uh, up pretty late last night, and they were going off well past midnight. But hey, hopefully there's still some left when Independence Day comes around, or 4th of July. I prefer Independence Day as the nomenclature myself, simply because it has more tie to its value to us as Americans. So Independence Day. um, but yeah, hopefully there's some kind of goal or something that is clear with the fireworks at some point. But I mean, I guess it couldn't be. It's not a bad time to be a fireworks supplier of some sort. It's not like there's anywhere else that somebody's getting seemingly endless supply like this. Got to be just going to the same folks that supply the highway stores and stuff. All right, so we got a box of various sundries this week. Is what this was marked. So looks like all kinds of neat stuff that we can kind of poke through. And then we've also got right here a box marked Vietnam War miscellaneous, older MCI boxes, and assault rats. So they're going to be emptied out, if I recall. I really hope, just because the last I saw the assault rats, they were a little rough. No, I know at least one's completely done because there should be a review on MRE Info somewhere where, or just a walkthrough of what I was doing where essentially I'm opening up the can and it hit the ceiling. I think I was wearing goggles. I can't remember if I was wearing goggles. This is at least 5 years ago, but it was, I think, Beans and Franks maybe. And then stop me if I'm opening that with some other reviewer's event of a exploding can. I've got a few in my head, but the assault ration one, there should be some pictures of the splat on the ceiling, and that was back in the Bozeman apartment. Whatever the contents were, maybe it was spaghetti, maybe it's been a little while, but yeah, Fordman, the assault ration was it was similar to what the what the later MCI really became. I think it was while the RCI was still what was evolving into the MCI, but at the time it was a lighter, smaller, meant for one meal kind of ration, about the same sizes and same era as the food packet in-flight individuals. So we'll pull some of those out, I think. It sounds like would be a good start here. But let's see what I'm saying or seeing over here. Produced in Norway, huh? So that's that's the thing. If I had the Discord fired up this week already, which again, I'm rushing as best as I can on this stuff. But if I had it, I could say, oh, jump over in the Discord and toss a picture in there, and I could have it running on a little screen here and see, oh, okay, and then even just pull it over into this, and say this is what she's talking about. So bit by bit, I can try and improve this. If you guys ever check out my other channel, it's not really related to this, but you can see like put a lot into the graphics and presentation and all that on this. It's not just a couple words and a couple words. It's all kinds of animated effects and stuff coming in and out, but it doesn't really apply to this. So in the long run here, I want to be able to make some documentary videos that use tools like this to make decent output without needing to really know everything in the world about video editing. Just switch to the right scene, do that scene, and kind of cut out the excess would be the idea. So that, we can just start making content where we talk about things like the assault ration, or the mountain ration, or the ration small detachment 5 persons, or any of these great pieces where we might have something in the museum. We may be able to look at some really neat details. We may be able to get really close up on some stuff, but it's not, it's a different animal than trying to gauge whether or not you're going to eat something. So I want to try and add some extra historic context. Though I gotta say, the reviewers that are out there today, there's no way I'm going to beat anybody in putting good context. Everybody does such a excellent job of making it more than just eating food. There's from Steve hunting photos and finding those little exact details to Smokey calling up folks at Natick and talking through the missing link of food packet or from ration cold weather to meal cold weather through the missing link of food packet cold weather. So it's just amazing. Like the reviewers, the folks in this community are just historians. Every one of you. You just have this drive to go out and figure out what's missing, and bit by bit we'll find a way to take that and share it with as many people as we can. We'll find a way to build a compendium of this kind of stuff. Yeah, that would be great. I'd like to see reproductions, edible reproductions of some of the bigger ones. I know Fordman. I know I've seen like some good World War II K-ration reproductions that you can take camping and cut open and have like canned cheese or essentially spam or stuff like that. But yeah, I'd imagine it's not quite as easy to fully mark up all the different pieces of some of these bigger rations. Honestly, we could even just take a look through a small detachment 5 persons tonight, just to see what's in there. Um, so yeah, we've got some. We'll look at some assault rations, and whatever else is in this Vietnam War miscellaneous box, and we'll we'll maybe get to take a look in here. I'm gonna need to grab gloves and just make sure that I'm careful with that one. Just it's had, I'm sure, enough handling over the years, and I don't need to add any deterioration to it. It's not in bad shape actually, though, so we'll see. Well, hopefully it's still in the shape I remember leaving it in, but I don't know that that one has been gutted and cleaned, which is part of this process with keeping the stuff ready for longer term storage. B Temple. Yeah, I remember him from MRE Info. Went through all the Templar apprenticeship and knightship and all that stuff with his group and shared some of that, if I recall. Am I thinking of the right guy? In addition to his ration stuff, if I'm thinking of the right guy. But yeah, and then Housel always used to share these great reproduction, or I mean these great trips, not necessarily that had repro rations. So a lot of the time it was just a good excuse to eat current rations. But he'd always share these trips where everybody would get together with their military vehicles and go on these little caravans and then set everything up and make essentially reenactments of different deployments of groups. And he had been with a medical unit, so I think he was like nuclear, biological, chemical certified, and they had all the equipment for that. So, but I just I love the mix of getting to see other people's vehicles that would get all worked over and brought out there, and getting to see all the camps that he would share, and then also just his focus on everybody sitting down and eating whatever chow and sharing whatever. So a lot of EPAs, the Einmann Pakun, the one man packed lunch, however that just one big word. But yeah, that sounds like something we can do. So let's switch to the getting the bigger view so that everybody can see a little easier. And I'm going to move this box of sundries for the moment. Let's see. I'm just going to put them down here, and we will open up this one. So just for the moment there. Let's do that. And I'll switch to, there we go. No. Sorry, I should always preface when I'm talking about these reviews. Back in and these guys were around long before me too. I only really joined, I want to say 07, somewhere around there, but or maybe it was a few years after that for me. But it was like back in MRE Heater and Housel and everybody would do, and Ken from Norway would all do, Norg, I mean, was his user on there. They would do a lot of photo set reviews. And then just a lot of, when they'd go on these trips, they'd take a lot of pictures. Norg would do a lot of camping trips with his family, with his boys. They would go out. He had some of the best full gear sets where he'd say, like, this weekend we're going out and we're going to be, in full polar Norwegian, and or we'll be in we're going to be in German mid-1980s, such and such Arctic edition, or we're all wearing Russian issue, so and it was the matching equipment and the use of everything in the field, and just it was neat. So I always like those, and there's still a lot of those are still around as far as I know. I know K-Man's done a great job keeping that site running for so long, and it's faster than ever and full of content. It's just an amazing resource. So anybody that's more familiar with the videos and everything, definitely head over to mreinfo.com and go to the forums and get yourself signed up. Even just keep an eye on posts and stuff. But I'm sure most of you are already over there for the trading forums and stuff. So these just some boxes. I'm not gonna. This is empty, so no sense prying it open. Looks like these are. This is an unissued. It looks like. Just and there were some of those, I think. Like just ooh. These were just in one of the display units back in Montana. Here we go. And I keep these empty, just, it's better to not have any pressure on them, better to not put any metal against them or any cans inside them and that kind of stuff if you can avoid it. So a lot of the stuff in the collection is empty and surrounded with foam and whatnot. So let's see. Yeah, Civil War reenacting is, I think, one of the wider, oh, there's some crunchiness to this. Wider passions out there. There's so much organization around. If 1 in every 1,000 Civil War reenactors was aware of the museum, we'd be a very well-known organization, to put it lightly. There's so much that goes into that. So this is actually there. I'm wondering. Ooh, so we got a brown paper packet, which pretty likely everything in it is crumbly, dry. I'm going to keep this closed and just put this to the side. There's a little rust in there, but overall not looking too bad. Most of these were eBay finds and whatnot. So they were, a lot of them were in this shape long ago, in terms of like, there's been no additional darkening of this. We got a foil pack, and I think a nut roll survived with that one. But so this is a food packet in flight, menu number 8. So it's a early IF type, I want to say. It's not an IF4, it's not an IF8, but it could be any of a couple different types. So this beans and frankfurters is definitely leaked since it went into storage. There's a couple tones there, so this will probably need some attention. There's a nice, long form like so. We can look at, once I get all these out, we'll compare a few on the table, and you can see some of the differences across a couple different generations of them. This is just a preserved applesauce can. The can was in really good shape, but it was starting to leak out at the bottom, so looks like this got saved pretty early on. And there's some cocoa beverage powder and a spoon in there. Okay, now these are some of the other varieties of the in-flight. I think this is an IF4. Yeah, these are IF4s. And I have one other one of these, but and I'm actually, no, I'm certain that's what that says, because here, yeah, you can see around the edge of that IF4 coming through. But these were in great shape and are still holding contents. So there's so much little work that's got to get done for this museum. It's insane. Just thinking, with each of these, we've got to cut the bottoms of the cans and get the contents out, clean the insides, ensure there's no additional corrosion and acidity going on. Make sure the outsides are clean so that there's no additional damage to the paint and everything. And then we have a preserved, good copy or good quality, can from one of these rations that we can keep as as an example of what the whole end product, actually looked like. And as you can see, some of these are really neat. These are these white reflective cans. I know the coloring on the stream may be leave something to desire, or leave something desired. But these white reflective metal cans with blue writing, there's almost, I don't know what all used went through and made production versions of these, but this is from the Chicago Quartermaster Depot. So in some cases, these are repackages of other units from the era in the standard issue reflective can for in-flight deployment or in-flight use, so that you could use part of your meal as a polished surface for reflecting. So, yeah, absolutely, will do. And thanks for continuing to be part of the group, Gail. We always appreciate everybody that's coming back and joining us for these bulletins. did pre-Civil War reenactments. That's got to be really neat. Like, just so, is that talking? Let me come back down here for a minute. So, is that like just the general day-to-day life in the military prior to the secession and dissolution of all the different portions of southern U.S. military and reestablishment as the Confederacy and all that? Oh, I almost saw your comment, Aletha, just now of doing the same minus knitting. I thought you were answering me from just now. And like, so soldiers were killing each other and knitting before the Civil War. Got it. A couple friends and I always used to joke that someday we'd start a pre-enacting group, and it didn't mean what you're talking about. We meant, enacting wars of the future. So like, like a Mad Max reenactment group with a very specific lore of what happened in the future battle that didn't happen. Like, since then, like Fallout would be a good example of like a whole lore that's built up with all kinds of stuff, that all starts with the bombs falling in 2077. So if, all kinds of Fallout fans started pre-enacting the first few years after the bomb fell, it would be the same kind, and they had like rules about it, and they had official like leagues and events, and as I say this, I realize the internet is such a wonderful thing that this probably does already exist, and I'm just not aware of it yet. There's probably a lot of folks, doing organized pre-enactments of post-apocalyptic battles that, from science fiction or from their favorite books. Yeah, cast iron cooking is its own beast. It's in the Boy Scouts we used a lot of Dutch oven cooking and a lot of cast iron skillet cooking and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was something we got used to there. But when you go back to pre-Civil War, even, it goes down to you want to cook a fish, well, you got a big old heavy cast iron fish fryer, and it's got a special cleaning technique. Oh, and oh boy, you're gonna love its special cleaning technique, because you certainly don't want to screw up your cast iron. Because if you treat it right, it'll last. That same cast iron skillet that was being used in the pre-Civil War, like a real one, could very well be just hanging in a kitchen, passed down through the generations, and just kept in good shape. There's lots and lots of cast iron out there over 100 years old. So, I think I have a lodge cabin one somewhere or something like that. Just a modern one that I take camping. So it's certainly not the best seasoned or kept out there. But so this, there's a bunch of other cans and stuff down here in this box. Let me pop back over to this. I'm going to put this spoon back here. And even just, trying to keep the original spoon and everything with. So in this accessory packet, you can see there wasn't a pack of cigarettes, even though this is certainly in the era when everything else would have them. And I'm assuming that that's to do with it being less common and more difficult, or maybe outright impossible. If anybody knows, it's not something I'm personally up to speed on. But in, like, say, the bomber crews, when these rations would be getting served. So in here we've got just a whole bunch of assorted examples of Korean War era cans, Vietnam War era cans, just lots and lots of different units here. Ooh, well, oh, somebody. Let's see. I'm not seeing anything on that. No, I was trying to make this can of tuna, it sound like a can of tuna while being shaken, and it does, but the microphone doesn't seem to want to pick it up on its own. So I'm not going to mess with that too much more. But somebody had been saying, "Hey, do you have a can of tuna from the 50s that would still be edible?" And that's what that is. There's at least one or two more in there somewhere, I think. So that one didn't have any pinhole leaks or anything like that. Cast iron, yeah, having the whole setup, like the teepees, the big hanging hook, and the hanging pots, the pots you bury, like all that combined, you can really get the most out of a fire, and that's kind of half the fun, is you're converting all the energy of that fire into right back into the metal and holding it and getting some good long-term cooking or long slow cooking out of it. So yeah, this can's going to be, or this whole case is going to be interesting to go through, I'm sure. I'm seeing some can corrosion. Let's pop this off. I'm sure not everything in the museum is going to be wine and roses. After all these years, but see if that gets any clearer. I know it's a little dark down in here, but these are all pretty good looking. And these are all these. Let's see, better angle there. These are all these shorter cans. So we've got like the standard height can. There we go. We got a B2 and a B3 right next to each other. And at least the B3 is 1966. The B2 is 1969. So they're right around that same era. There's a lot of these OD green cans. I want to be careful with them because the paint on them can definitely flake over time. So overall, these are looking pretty good. There's a little corrosion over here, and that's actually I believe that's a wood fuel can, not a food can, but I could be wrong. Nope, this is a beef with spiced sauce that is absolutely crusted and leaked a bit. So seems to be leaving his neighbors alone. Can't forget about that though. I'm gonna wash my hand before I contact anything, so I can't really put this back. Let me be right back. All right, I'm back. So just grabbing a pair of gloves. Gonna get gloved up before we go back in, because for one, plenty of foodborne illness warnings that we should all be aware of apply to a lot of what's in this box. There could be some really, really nasty stuff in there. So trying not to just casually get exposed to it. Whatever minimal protection I can get, give myself, the better. Two, some of these boxes are pretty rare and pretty old, and the more I'm handling them, I should be keeping my the oils and whatnot from my skin from getting on them. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Fruitcake. Yeah. Yeah, the fruit cakes, the nut cakes, the You know, a lot of those canned cakes, you know, they seem edible, and then you bite in, and there's that chemical or astringent or whatever kind of taste. Um, so one of these days, I'm going to find a fruit cake that is perfect, and I'm going to eat it. I think it used to be, at least I've heard rumor that there was you know, there was a tradition to have commanding officers or quartermasters or something consume older and older and older fruit cakes upon retirement. Now let's see. So we'll leave these cans for the most part in there. Just take a look at some of the differences on these. Okay, now that we're back, I'll put this back up here. There we go. And we'll switch back over there. Let's see, does this work with gloves? Alright, so we were looking at these in flights, and let's see, we have another variety of the in flight up here. These were these, you know, kind of little lunchbox style. They eventually got to this hinged lid. This may be an IF8, actually, maybe a little later. We don't have much from that one. The orange nut roll reflective accessory packet were originals from that particular one. And you can see on the top it does reference the nut roll, but I no longer have the pork steak, peaches, fruit juice. This one was mostly a box of dirt with the can still safely nestled in the corner. We looked in one of these two. Let's see, this may be the one we looked at. Yeah. And it's certainly not original in there because it's got two dessert labeled cans. Yeah, these are I guess holding some placeholder items for me, because we got white bread, and white bread to go along with our sweet chocolate. Let's see. I mean, it really is a good reflective surface. Let's see if we can get any better up close. There we go. Sweet chocolate disc, starch jelly disc, oatmeal chocolate chip cookie, sandwich cookie. Oh wow, these are. This would be a great one to actually get to eat. The sandwich cookies, they last pretty well. The starch jelly discs, there's something else. So I need to make sure that I stay away from that one. In general, not going to try and eat the museum stock, but there's certainly some folks that would agree with me that some of these old sandwich cookies are, you know, pretty amazing. There's definitely been ones that I've seen from prior to World War II that come out just, you know, they look just like a brand new Oreo. So we've got this assault ration. We've got this alternate variety of the assault ration packaging. And as a comparison, we can see like a normal MCI. We can see kind of a earlier generation MCI where the height's about the same, and the depth is about the same, but the width, you know, just a little off. So and I'm sure it was came down to the size and shape of what was going into them. As the MCI progressed, the cans that came with it started including those specialty shorter cans instead of just the same 3 of the same larger can, which I think would be the reason that we have this. It's just 3 cans across instead of one bigger, one smaller, nestled in with the little cardboard divider and all that. Which, let's see if I can see this one that's in leaking shape over here, if we can see what I'm talking about. So this has got that soft bag, the soft plastic bag, and the pretty much opaque spoon. It's got a post cigarette era accessory packet. So what am I thinking here? Like 78, 80? I mean, it could be as early as like 74, maybe. Let's see. Hey, gold prospecting, careful. There's as much money made on new gold prospecting equipment every year as the total value of gold mined every year. So, and I think the equipment may outweigh that. So there's more people looking than, I mean, I guess should go without saying. But as someone who's somewhere in a closet, I own at least a couple sets of panning trays and little siphons and random other bits and pieces, and like a black sand magnet and all that stuff. Man, there's a lot of kneeling in cold creeks that did not pan out. That was terrible, terrible. Sorry. So here's one of those fruitcakes. So here's looking at you, fruitcake. No. So let's see. We're looking at date-wise. This is saying, no, this is saying 09059. So that can't be, it's not, it doesn't read upside down, and it also says 43 on there. Maybe this wasn't originally in this. I don't think this is a 1959 MCI. That doesn't sound right at all. Matches, chewing gum, toilet paper, coffee, instant, cream substitute, sugar, salt. Yeah, no, I wonder if this was picked from something else or if this date code doesn't mean what I think it means in this sense. And that's the thing with a lot of these old cans, you won't get something super readable, and you have to guess. Like here we got DX06029. So this obviously wasn't made in 29. So if this 090, this wasn't made in 90, and this might have been made in 60. I don't know. I'm thinking we got some interesting date code, nonsense going on, as can sometimes be the case. So that, this leakage on the outside actually may have nothing to do with the contents. Everything's coming out looking good. So here we got beans with Frankfurter chunks and tomato sauce. Clean, and come on, pick it up. Oh yeah, there we go. You hear that? That's the actual liquid in there. That does not sound too bad, and it's not really bulged. No, it's not bulged. There's a paint flake on the top that I want to be careful of because you can see it's peeled away around it. And here's something that's looking like it's going to be a good date stamp for us. No, the date stamp has the paint layer lifted through it, so it's like the outlines of it. And it almost looks like it says 90. They weren't making MCIs in 90. They started making the MRE technically in like 1980, but I think it was started getting issued in 1982, but or 1981, right in there. But They weren't making MCI cans in 1990 that I'm aware of for anything. So unless this was like a reproduction, it's I'm sure under this paint in here there's something I'm just not reading right. So here we go. The B2 unit in this is the first thing with a pretty clear stamp on it that I've been able to read. 6, nice big space, 72. So right at the so this was produced right at the end of the cigarette era and the start of the no 4-packs in your go-to rations era. So it's a 79. Wait, what's a 79? This can? Oh, wait. You're right. I think it's the 2 next to it that made my brain off. That is a 9 indeed. Yep, there we go. That's at least clear enough to corroborate what Eric's saying. So that is 6 of 79. So there we go. This is one of the latest gen MCIs. And some of these other stamps, I just don't know if these cans were all together. Let's see what it says. We got beans with Frankfurter chunks and tomato sauce from Conpack in New Orleans. I don't know. And part of what we're going to do is get all of this information, every single, every example we can find. Like when a can's logged or when something's logged, it'll say what date codes were there, what was there, what information was there, and maybe we can eventually put some context to some of the crazier stuff. But then the other thing is going to be to catalog, what companies made everything, because there are going to be one-offs and there are going to be companies that did short-run kind of fill-ins that I want their story to be part of it. Even if it was just a couple weeks in the middle of the war where they dropped everything they did and they spun up making fruitcakes for the U.S. government and they got them out. Wouldn't it be fitting to be able to share their part of the story? Even if some catalog of events had potentially lost their name. So, not saying that these guys are obscure or anything. I'm not sure, but Eunice King's Kitchen Incorporated in Sherman, Texas, 75090. So, just one more name, that bit by bit, we'll add to the list. Jam Seedless Blackberry by Kern Foods Incorporated. That's one we know. We've seen Kern plenty of times on jams and jellies. A case of 2012, like an A or a B case of MREs or did I miss something a little earlier? It's always fun when you get to do a whole case, as a series. But speaking of ration recipes and MRE recipes, somewhere in the collection, and we'll find these as well. We've got at least 3 or 4 generations of the Tabasco Company's ration books. The ones with the Beetle Bailey tie-in, and the crossover recipe menus. Those things are fantastic. And they go all the way back to the MCIs and through to later MREs. I'm not sure if they're still making those, but I see your question, Foreman. I couldn't answer. I'm not sure, to be honest, if Kern is still making anything. It could be. Hopefully bit by bit I'll get closer to knowing that. Yeah, the C Ration cookbook from McElhenney, the company that makes Tabasco. That's what I'm talking about, JW Speaker. That's the so there's it goes all, it goes all the way back. There's versions where it's like, take your lima beans and you know, take your canned corned beef hash, and you're gonna mix them up, and you're gonna cook them, etc. And then like there'll be another one from the 80s where it's saying take your frankfurters, so you got your five fingers of death, making its way into that review, and mix them with this or that, things like Ranger pudding and all that, and bit by bit over the years, you can see where the menus change and where the new recipes come up. So I don't know how many varieties they actually published over the years, and that'll be something I'd love to find out, and see what versions I may not have gotten a chance to see, because I know they didn't do a new version for every new uh, release of MREs. That would be great if there were 30 something, 40 or nearly 40 of those out there, in terms of just extra information for us. And just seeing, in the field combinations, it's just always so much fun. Especially when you get a chance to get together and try some of them. You make 4 or 5 of them, and everybody gets to try a little bit of each one. Oh, that's right. So I almost forgot how to repack an MCI. So tall can, left or right, doesn't matter. You got your B unit in the bottom. Then you got your divider, and this one's in fantastic shape. You can see it's not even creased in there. It hasn't been unfolded or busted up, so we're going to be careful with it. And you fit that in between your cans, and let her drop down in, and then you put your dessert unit or your bread unit, whatever it would be, on the right. You put your spread unit, so it's going to be cheese, it's going to be jelly, going to be peanut butter on the left. You get a nice even base there, and then you put down your spoon, and you top it all off with your accessory packet. Tuck, close, and you've got yourself a nice packed MCI. So that looks like the leak was either from another era or potentially from another ration, but everything else in here that was at that level or above was clean. So this along the side is just from overlap wherever it happened to be in a previous version. So as soon as we we have our next phase location, one of the things I'm going to be trying to get my hands on is a proper book scanning setup. So not, we could be doing flatbed scanning, we could be doing pinning and taking photos and that kind of thing, which would get us through the process. But you don't want to necessarily crush the pages, you don't want to bend the spines, and especially when you're talking with some of these recipe books from the 1800s, the military quartermaster issue stuff that turns the century. I want to make sure that when we open that page, so we're going to be using the like glass insert divider, or like the proper plastic insert divider for no glare, that holds the page perfectly flat, does 2 pages at once, lift, switch, etc. And I want to get something similar for we could, so that we can use the little pamphlets and stuff too, and get really nice quality scans of everything, and make very readable digital versions of all the ration related stuff. And then just reach out and see if we can provide our copies to the National Archives to replace any that they may happen to have that are, or add to, in addition to the scans that they have from, in some cases, Xerox copies from the 70s of some of these military manuals and stuff, where if it was a black and white photo of a scene of soldiers preparing rations in a tent, well, now you can make out the outline of a tent, and there's a black-gray blob of the whole contents of the inside, and there's no detail anymore because in a lot of cases that's it. It would just wash it out, and you'd get pure black, pure white, and some grayish, but no individual figure detail anymore. So it'll be great to, for instance, that those B ration books that we have that have all those pull-out charts, those really detailed, 1,000-point, 30-column, guides for, depending on what you have, what courses are you going to plan, what kind of meal or what kind of meal plan can you do for how long, for how many people, and what are the orders that you're going to be necessarily putting out for, the pieces that you're going to need to finish that, and what are the orders you're going to be giving to your kitchen staff to get that done so that they have a structured process to follow. It's all just so interesting. And then you look at the scans that we have in the archives or in these military collections, and if there is one, and it's the box is checked that they have a scan, so it doesn't necessarily get the attention to get another one. And I'm not one to try and say, well, how dare they? They should go out and they should do a better job, when I can say, let's lend a hand. Let's do what we can do and try and share what we did. And if they can use it too, great. So we'll certainly be trying to stay in touch with National Archives and Natick, and which goes by a new name now, the Soldier Development, or the SDCC or the SRDCC. It's a Combat Development Corps. I don't know. I'll make sure I get up to speed on the new name or place in Natick. But for now, I think everybody knows. Oh, thanks, Glove. I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. Well, hopefully most people know what I'm talking about when I'm saying Natick, but it's the Soldier Development Laboratories in Natick, Massachusetts, where a lot of the research and testing happens for assessing the nutritional value of eating these things, and the long-term impacts, and trying to figure out ways to make things potable and enjoyable in the long run. Yeah, so I think to what Kaylin's saying, like all these little extras, for the most part, these were empty kind of boxes. We're gonna bring up a box in a second that's right after I put these back. That's just all those little extra bits and bobs from, I think, Vietnam and World War II era. We'll poke through one of those. So just gotta be careful and put these back first. And then, let's see. Oh, don't want to skip a very important step. Laying down a barrier, just in case anything super minor does happen there. But this is not permanent, like I'm saying, we need better plans in the long term for being able to keep everything. So I must have done these sideways. Yeah, there we go. So I've got a few dozen banker boxes that we're going to be using to have an acid-free starting point for everything, and start breaking. For instance, this one box would probably end up being 2 or 3 of those boxes, so that everything has enough of its own space. And you know, the reality of that means that the museum could get fairly sizable fairly quick in terms of how much space it would need to take up. Right now, it's in a very condensed state, which I'll keep like that for these empty ones. So everything is pretty tightly packed when possible. One, so that there isn't a lot of stuff moving around. Yeah, we'll put the full ones on the bottom just to make sure they're not sitting on top of anything else. But sorry, I distract myself as I go through here and notice something that I need to quick change. But yeah, so as we expand everything out, you know, certainly the boxes that we have are going to take up more and more space because they're going to be less and less full, less and less shared. So we will eventually be at a point where even if we didn't expand, we would need a great deal more space than we have. Now I see a better way. Eventually, no. This was down here. This. There we go. All right. So, nope. I know I had it different before, and I'm not going to get it exact. There we go. There we go. No pressure on everything, a little wiggle room. That's how I want it. I didn't want anything being crushed by the lid. But now, at least with the setup as it is, we won't, you know, this goes into a specific spot up here. So we can see, you know, at least nothing's putting any pressure on the top of that. But in general, that's what I'm, at least bare minimum, trying to make sure we do is keep everything from getting crushed. You know, setting the standards pretty high here. Let's keep it from getting crushed. But yeah, Tetris was a skill set that I honed growing up, and it comes in very well. Or I mean, it comes in very handy here. Oh, hey, now there we go. Speak of the devil, and the devil shall appear. So let's see. Oh, all right. The devil is full of tricks, apparently. So this is the envelope from the Charlie Ration cookbook. Here's hoping there's one in here, but if not, I know we certainly have them, and they'll turn up. Oh, let's see, we've got pouch stand. Anybody remember these? So you would pop it out, punch in the centers, and get it so that you could pop your pouch directly in the top and set it down. It's kind of like a gusseted pocket now on the hot beverage pouches. So very similar to what that does, but as part of the cardboard. So neat little thing. That needs some cleanup. This is a ice cream carton. So you would get cases and cases of these, and you'd get, you know, the great big cylindrical, massive things of ice cream, and then it would be your kitchen staff's duty to scoop that out, make hundreds and hundreds of these and press that in, that ice cream into there and pack it in, fold it all up and just stack them, because you couldn't just have somebody on the deck of a ship scooping out ice cream in the South Pacific at the end of some particular part of the war. And that's about the era these are for. So you had to go through the process of breaking it up into all the individual servings and then prepping them, and then you would get ready for the the breakneck, everybody through. Here's your box of ice cream. 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 And they had wooden spoons to go with it, I believe. Just a little piece of wood, pretty much. Doesn't mention that on this actual package, and it could be that I'm misremembering, but I'm pretty sure in the era operational guide there is something about these. So we'll look for those. Fordman, did they take the gusseted pouch out? It's just in the Canadian ones now. Why would they do that? That was one of the nicest things. You could finally mix up your sports drink, and or whatever, or your orange drink. Well, hello. I know this. What is... Yeah. I think that's what this is. A Norwegian Arctic. But an older one. Any date stamping on this thing? And I can go back to... Oh, no. That one. There we go. So... 2011. So not too old. Okay. Breakfasts. Fruits and muesli, probably. Energy drink, cocoa, jam, coffee, chewing gum, germicidal something or other. Probably soap or cloth. Oh, cloth. It says. So, breakfast mixed with fruits. So, interesting. NDKS. Yeah, I think this is a Norwegian breakfast or Korean hardtack. This is one of those probably, yeah, this is one of those commercial, military kind of products, I think. There's some neat little cartoons to go with it. But it's it doesn't have the official military symbol of the Republic of Korea. Not to be confused with the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, which, yeah, democratic, okay. So, just random things, like a plastic-wrapped Carlisle dressing. Seems like 60s or 70s, but, tons of little fuel ration tablet kind of things. Lots and lots and lots of these actual fuel tablets. These are all trioxane, I think. No, these are hexamine. So yeah, these are all hexamine fuel. Probably make some good rocket fuel out of these. Interesting. So lots and lots of those, and then we got various extra bits, some toilet paper, a bunch of different types of, let's see, don't want to knock that down. We got a bunch of types of can openers in here. A couple varieties. always love packaging like this. Transparent Wrap Machine Corp of Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey. Sugar. Yeah, this is definitely a box of random goodies. Huh. I mean, in some of it, I have no idea what my thought process was. This one must have been one of those absolute last to go. Oh, wow. All right. So, speaking of just in there. So, that is military issue for consumption. So I consider that part of the history of the Ration Museum, something to maintain, something to keep in the collection. So there is a complete set, untouched, of D-amphetamine, dextroamphetamine sulfate is what that would be. This is pilot speed. So this is a 1955 production, 6-pack of pilot speed. So you would get these in escape and evade rations. You would get these in abandoned aircraft rations. Essentially, the idea was you're going to be in a situation where you've just survived a plane crash, or you've just survived some other event where you're likely to not be in your own territory. So the idea of being able to be super safe and careful and wait for help to arrive might not apply to you. You might have been on a mission that you can't get found there, or whatever. There's plenty of people that got issued these that needed to have these at the time, and the idea was you would check your gear. You would determine what your approximate location was and start making a plan. Then you would count out how much of this you had, and you would plan how often you would take more, and try and stretch the process so that you stay awake for the first few days without stopping at all, and attempt to get to some form of safe territory. So the escape and evade relied on these. But even if you were stuck, say you were badly injured and you were stuck in place, your guide might tell you, or your training might tell you to take these, or to take portions of these in order to be more likely to hear and react to any approaching danger in your predicament. So just in this box, and I'm seeing something in here that was asked about at least 1 or 2 streams ago that I'm sure we're all going to love to see. This white foam wrapped brick over here. I know this size, and the foam I used when I wrapped this up. That's Yugoslavian. So we can take a look at that Yugoslavian one and see. I hope it's in great shape. That was a donation. I've got the record of who donated that to the museum. That's not my personal property. A lot of this is still technically my personal property until I donate it to the museum, or some other way where we can make sure the museum gets legal ownership of all this when we get it insured. But some of this stuff is direct donation, and I want to make sure that every record of that is found and shared. But let's see. So then we've got just emergency food bricks, Chinese Typo 9. These things are really neat. I've had quite a few of the Chinese and Russian and American just food bricks. Like, here's a Russian one. Let's see if I can. Did I have a second? Yeah, well. This is emergency ration, I believe. Because on the other side, or emergency food ration is what's printed on the other side. So the equivalent is what we're looking at. But bug out kits and damp climate long-term storage. It's always nice to have some of these. They're in a lot of cases, you get something like this. This is probably 400 or 500 calories, something like that. 800. This is 800 calories, just this brick. So it's the bigger bricks that you see, like the Daytrex and the Mainstay and those kind of bigger bars. A lot of those are like 3,600 calories or 2,800 calories. It's good to have a brick or two of that at the bottom of a bug out setup. And the taste of these things really isn't that bad. It's not like the it's not like these, which I hear mixed results, but I haven't ever had a fresh one myself, and I don't know that I ever will have one that's considered fresh enough. But then we got a Kazakhstani ration, I think, right here on the left. Toilet paper. Got a variety of water purification. So, a couple types of tablets there. This actually, yeah, this is 50 water purification tablets. So this is, this is a bulk pack. We got fuel tablet for ration heating. These that you break off a third of this, so you can. Let's see if we can see the scoring on it. Not quite. So in between, yeah, there we go. There we go. So they would snap. So you would break off 1, 2, or use all 3 bricks. Oh, here's another example of that. And I know what some of this is. I was packing and moving, and Steve had given me just a loose can of a couple of these pieces, and it went into the box pretty much right away as is. So that's what that was. So here's a hexamine tablet stove. Goes along with these either these canned tablets or these bagged tablets. I mean, or wax paper, and paper outside. So you'd put your tablets just in there, and you'd socket your can into here. And I don't believe this was official. I think this, I can't recall. This might have been one of those everybody sends one to their their family members overseas because it's better than the generic ration stove. But this thing was really neat. I'd like to fill in the gaps on the info on this at some point. There's almost certainly somebody who knows the full history of it. So it is a JWS. Yep, I can't see. It's rubbed out. And then on the bottom there's some other markings. So once I get the like super close-up macro viewer set up, we can get some of this. No, this is okay. This is a U.S. Marine Corps issue. Never mind. So this is definitely U.S. military. It's U.S. Marine Corps stock item numbers on here. So gonna need to see some history, or gonna need to put some history together on that. Yeah. I wasn't yeah, I knew it was a World War II era because of these hexamine tablets that it's based with, but I couldn't recall if it was official issue or not. But it does look like it's official. Hey, and howdy Dub C, how's it going? You talking about last night's stream? I have a long running Saturday night get together that it's at least in the short term it's going to keep conflicting with Smokey's stream, which is a shame. But I did jump over to that factory stream last night for a chunk. So I did see a lot of you over there, and the piece I caught was exciting. It would have been nice to catch a piece with Bob in there and some of the others. I know he was there, but I didn't get a chance to say howdy. So did look, it's always neat. I mean, always neat. It's all new. It's all new. Seeing the inside of a ration factory while it's happening, that's new to me at least. So we've got some of these soluble coffee products, soluble milk. They're not in the best shape, but they're good display. Same with, we've got, well, actually, there's nothing wrong with these. These are perfect shape. There's some, like this one had some leakage from something on it or whatever, but overall, they're looking great. These Tops gum coming out of some of these accessory cans. Let's see, we'll put these to the side here. What do we got? Okay. Now somebody's been asking about. Oh wait, no, this isn't. I was wondering if this was one of the halal ones. I think it might be. If anybody knows offhand, if that symbol may potentially designate, but what is this? Indonesian or Malaysian? I'm not sure. Almost certainly was something that Steve got a chance to eat and then sent the wrappers my way or something like that. Because he was, he would do that as often as he could. And anything he sent to me like that, that's all we have for the museum. I've got it. It's safe, whatever it happened to be. And certainly would rather have the outer wrapper and the pouches from. You can see there's still some pouches in there. They're empty, they're flattened, they're clean. We'd certainly rather have that than have nothing in the collection. This is fantastic. So we'll, things like that. We could put maybe some cardboard or some paper on the inside, put it up as a display, take the pouches out, do the same, and it doesn't necessarily have to still have the food in it to display well and to convey what it's like to break out the whole meal and see the collection of pieces, and say, oh, okay, I can sit down and see this being a meal. And then when you look at the whole ration for some other, for another country, there's always like, well, where's such and such part of the meal, or what's this? It's like, oh, well, it's tradition at every lunchtime that you're gonna, have this extra accoutrement or whatever it happens to be. So it's just neat once you get to see, even if the food stuff had to be removed for safety or long-term display, like we were talking about earlier, or if it was something just too good of an opportunity, had to try it. But I mean, and hopefully with any international stuff that goes into the display collection, we'll get to share before it gets cleaned out and all that. So hash brown potatoes. The freeze-dried hash brown bricks. I love these things. They don't reconstitute super well. I don't know why I love them so much, but just had one of those there. Ooh, I think I know what this is going to be. Yep. So this is a wintergreen bar. This is from the food packet, general purpose survival type new, I believe, or maybe it doesn't say type. It may just say new. So it's even over top of something else in terms of the packaging. It was super short-lived. That's just a sticker. The actual bar is in here. And does anybody know what this is? Does anybody? I know Smokey knows, but does anybody know what the wintergreen bar was? Just see if anybody's got a guess or straight up knows. So I'll give you another moment. We'll keep looking. Uh, we got a supplemental maritime survival ration for the Canadian military here. And this one has never been opened, though it does have a sign of, potentially having been the home to some form of bug along the way. But I'd assume that's going to be compressed food bars, maybe some soup, probably candy, those kinds of things. The supplemental marine rations were stuff that if it got completely dunked in salt water and pulled back out and rinsed off, it's probably still going to be fine. So like a compressed food bar in a wrapper was probably fine, even if it got slightly damp, or hard candy could get dampened, or once you open these things, they could get exposed to the spray and all that stuff. So, it tends not to be powdery things or stuff that blows away or anything that you'd have to care about. So let's see some guesses. We got guesses: cereal bar or drink powder. Sounds like a FD moist snuff. FD freeze dried. No, that's what sticks in my head for FD. Unless that's like a snuff brand. Was just talking about snuff with a friend who's been getting into this Civil War game and talking about, oh well, would they be doing snuff back then? What is snuff? And it's like snuff is essentially nicotine extract from tobacco, super fine, that you blast up into the back of your nasal cavity, and yeah. No, it's not that. Is it a chocolate mint cookie bar? No, it's not that. But that may be what the wrapper was, because I see like something to the effect of cream or cookie or something in what they slapped the label over. But no, so I'm gonna close guessing on this. This is one of my favorite things in the world. I've only ever eaten one, and this is like a giant Altoid. I don't have to hold up my hands when I'm saying this, and use it as normally I would like show a example, but I can actually just show you this. This is an Altoid essentially, or a wintergreen lifesaver. Like, that's what this is. This is that chalky white, super minty. If you snap it, it sparks in the dark. Like, exactly like if you snap one of those little wintergreen lifesavers. It is a, like, quarter pound to third of a pound brick of that material, because as far as we can tell, in the history of this, somebody very likely misunderstood what they were doing and said, "Oh, I want to put a wintergreen snack into this ration," and it just got the same dimensions, makes, and everything else as the cereal bars and cookie bars and compressed food bars of the time. So, behold the compressed wintergreen bar, or a compressed food bar sized wintergreen bar. So this is the only one I'm currently certain that I have. I do have, let's see, up here, right there. Um, let's see, try and get a better angle and then stabilize it a bit for you. So let me switch. All right, there. Apologies for anybody who's got a sensitive stomach there. So I've got a food packet survival general purpose case up there with all the brown cardboard box generation of the food packet. So I'm pretty sure that this wintergreen block came in a cardboard boxed one from the one that I had eaten. Shared, took a bit to get through, and you just gnaw on them, But if that's what's in there, there's at least like 15 of those still in that case. So that would be an excellent find. I'll let folks know. That could be some super special thank you we say for folks that help out in like one of our donation runs or something. Which I found a whole case back here. This one behind me. So this is just this box here is just so you know when I say crushing things. This box here is empty. This box here is an egg case from World War I. And this box is museum giveaway stuff like Melmac cups and whatnot, so that when we do have some fundraising, that we can try and have some tiers of rewards. Like I've got some Civil War cutlery sets and stuff like that the museum has a number of examples, enough for a traveling collection and a local collection. So, just a fork and knife set from 1862, why not get 3 or 4 of those out there into the community, that kind of stuff. So, let's see, we'll switch back over here. So these are just bibimbops. I don't think they're official Korean military, but they've got that ROK emblem. Or is it RKO or ROK? The Republic of Korea. Yeah, the ROK. Yeah. So these are just really hearty freeze-dried rice meals. So these make 3 full servings. They cook up. They cook up really good. And there's 2 of those in this case of wonder. What is this? Oh, we got something wrapped in paper here. It feels like it's glass. No. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. So we've got 2 little jars. Halazone. Let's see if that'll focus a little better. Yeah, there. And another, I believe, and we're not going to get that tiny corner text to load, but that it's also halazone. So these are big canisters. Let's see how many treatments on these. These will treat 100 gallons of water, it looks like. No, 100 canteen quarts. Okay. 100 pills each, with a little cotton stuck at the top. And each one is made for a canteen quart, exactly. And they say so. So there we go. Add 1 tablet to 1 canteen of water, 1 quart. Replace canteen cup or cap loosely to allow a little leakage. Wait 5 minutes. Shake thoroughly so that the water leaks out and disinfects the screw threads. Then tighten the cap. Okay, got it. So these are listed as chlorine tablets, but active ingredient is halazone. All right, well, that brings us to this. So let's make some space over here. We can put most of this back for now. Oh well, before I do that, let's actually go inside this, one that I think is Indonesian or Malaysian. I'm not 100% certain, but we can see the main food packet, and then the side. And not sure if this was a dessert or a condiment packet. And then the candy bar wrapper. which will be neat. You know, you can even run like these days. If that cleared up, let's see. Yeah, you can take that, screenshot it, run it through Google Translate, and it'll come back in the font of the wrapper in English. It's just, I love the future, you know, like you don't have to call 20 people and hope that you can find somebody that speaks the dialect you're trying to figure out, like you used to have to. You know, you just take a picture, or you can do it in real time now. So, I haven't used halazone to purify and drink water. No, I have used iodine tablets. You know, it's not something you do because it's fun. Sorry, excuse me. It's not something you would do because it's yeah, and I'm sure you know. I'm not implying you're saying, oh, it's gonna be fun. Let's do some let's purify some water and drink it. But that'd be interesting, you know, for the museum to log that kind of thing. So like we've got all these little varieties. Like this one's 1956. You know, it's got a heavier wax cap, and then this one is, I'm not sure if it's specifically dated, but it's a nice clean, nice clean label. Once it's got a second. Yeah. So these are, you know, some good examples across a couple eras of this. Definitely going to want to put them in more appropriate storage than this sundries box. So I'm not going to fully repack any of this. I'm just going to rest everything in here, the small stuff, put some of it off to the side, and then this is gonna be one of the first ones that I start putting into the banker's boxes with, you know, a specific set of what's going to be on the front, and more packaging between the individual items inside. And a lot of the stuff is in that kind of state, so this would be the exception to that rule for the most part. But I'm sure there's more than just this box out there that is going to need that extra help. Let's see what this was. American Rifleman magazine pages. Plenty of those got wrapped around rations on the way out. So, all right, let's get in here and get up close, and let's take a look at this Yugoslavian ration before we wrap up for today. And then I think next week maybe we can come back to that small detachment, 5 persons. Take a look through the contents of that. I don't recall if the cigarette packet in there is full and sealed or full and opened, but it's full. So we'll hopefully, if it's opened already, we'll certainly open it. If it's not, you know, we're leaving it alone. But you know, if it's full and we can slide them out and take a look, we'll carefully do that. So let's take a look at this Yugoslavian. And catching up, the writing might be Thai. Yeah, I'm taking a rough guess based on the halal symbol on it, and just lack of familiarity with the script in general for me. So Indonesia is, I think, the world's largest predominantly Muslim country. Or am I mixing that with something else in Southeast Asia? I want to say it's Indonesia, and so that would be much more common than say in Thai military or something. So that was my guess, but definitely, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. So I totally was wrong. This is not a Yugoslavian ration. This... Oh, wow. Oh, okay. This is a winter field kitchen, like, entire ration thing. What? Hey, canceled. So, this wasn't what I thought it was going to be coming out of here. You can see on the side the instructions for, you take this apart and it makes a stove that then you hang the ration can inside of, and it hangs from the top edges there, and then you put a little can of fuel at the bottom of, and it cooks on the inside. Let's see. This is entirely sealed. I've seen the inside of one of these. So, is this Finnish or Norwegian or Swedish? Bergen. No, that's... No. Well, what the heck? An SP/63. Well, we're gonna let's see, pop over. Let's see, SP/63 ration. This is a Norway 1979 24-hour ration. I see Gundog's review is the first one that pops up on one of these. And let me share this. So, yeah, so this is what we're looking at. I mean, hopefully this is safe enough and on the ration account for me to poke through without us running into any terms of service stuff. But yeah, that's what we're looking at here. A late 1970s, probably the same area here, or the same one, 24-hour field ration kitchen with the great big bricks that you would individually heat as a meal. I want to say there's 2 or 3 of them in here. Let's see. Or, yeah, cake blocker, I mean, I'm sure that's not how it's produced, but all right, well, that's what that is. And that'll almost certainly have some entry in the donation guide. I wonder if Gundog sent that over to me. I know there were a few things that went back and forth right before I moved from Montana that I'll have to double check back through everything. So let's see, back over to here. So that's definitely what this is. Cool to have one of these. The Norway 1979 24-hour field ration. And it's just so interestingly put together. I'm gonna have to rewatch that review. That's why I felt like I'd seen the inside of one of these so clearly. Is that I recognize that review. So I'm gonna give that another watch, and then we can keep an eye out for. It's gonna be packed in another brick of foam, and it's pretty much this exact size. Is when I find that Yugoslavian ration, we can open that up and we can walk through the surviving contents of that. I think 1 or 2 small things had to be removed before it was passed on to me. But you can also see that in the one of the Doswell videos on this channel from earlier on. Not that it's going to be too clear or anything. The stream quality wasn't super great, and once we started walking around showing stuff, that was all right. But hey, it was years ago. It was the forefront of trying to live stream from a convention center. We had a 1.5 megabit connection, and somehow made that work. So yeah, that was pretty neat. But yeah, certainly we're over prepared and oversupplied by the convention there. We had seating for like 50 people the whole time, and even going back that years ago, you can thank folks like Black Dog Bob for lining up events like that. He has a head for getting us together. I hope that's still going on, and I'll bit by bit get more up to speed with everybody in the community, and hopefully soon we'll all be able to start seeing each other again. So, like I said, we're getting very close to starting a actual fundraiser for the office space for the museum. I'm negotiating for one right now, and it sounds like we've got an accepted offer for $400 a month for a year lease for a space that'll be big enough to house everything and give us a spot for 1 to 2 people to work together on cataloging, and for volunteers to come in, and for people that want to come take a look when they're in Philadelphia and have a place to meet up to do that and that sort of thing. So I'm, in the process of getting our paperwork settled with GoFundMe Charity, which is a subset of GoFundMe for nonprofit charities, and we are a public charity in the sense that we're a 501c3 A54 historic museum historic preservation group. So all that comes together, and we'll be able to run a very professional campaign where donations aren't lost to some company's overhead in the middle. Because there's a lot of these systems where if we weren't doing it right and you gave us $1, we'd get to keep 70 cents or 60 cents, and I don't think anybody wants that. So a $4,800 goal for a year of having a location, an official headquarters for the museum, I think is a really good first step. So I'll keep everybody in the loop on that, and we'll get that hopefully up live in between now and the next stream, and we'll talk about it then. And I can use everybody's help that's willing. So again, look in the description below. There's a link right at the top now for the volunteer form. It doesn't make you log into anything to use it. You don't have to have a Google account or anything. It'll just open up. Please fill it out. If you can help us in any way for like helping with our Google ad campaign, or helping manage email stuff, or helping reach out, or catalog things, or coordinate meetings or teams or any of this. So fill out the volunteer form, and I will get you access to the Slack channel. That's for Ration Museum staff and volunteers. And then by next week, we will have a public Discord for everybody that wants to chat, share images, share links to ration reviewers, share stories, all that kind of stuff. We've got the nonprofit versions of all these tools that we're using, so we get the full suite of services, and we want to make sure that if somebody's recognized that we should have access to all that, that we're taking advantage, and we're gonna use these tools. So like I said, we have got the 250 person license for Slack. We can have a really diverse group of volunteers and not have to say, oh, well, you only can volunteer so much. We're going to have to, talk to you another way because we have to limit our Slack users. And that's, when you're paying $10, $12 a month per user, you really have to make those decisions. But when, great companies like Slack and Atlassian and Asana and, TechSoup and GuideStar and all these people start, giving us access to these tools for free, it's really, it's kind to them. It shows that they care about more than just their bottom line, and it shows that they're trying to help not just create a good communication tool for businesses, but create a good way for people that want to give back to easily stay in touch and not lose all their time and overhead and everything to just management and communication. So I'm really glad everybody came out again for another Sunday night ration or Sunday afternoon Ration Museum Bulletin. Um, this has been great, and I look forward to another one next week. We may be changing the time to weeknights at some point, but for right now, just plan on 5 p.m. Sunday, and that's at least for the next few weeks. That's where we'll be. So 5 p.m. Eastern on Sundays. We'll shoot for our 2-hour update. We'll look through some rations and stay in touch. And every week I should have another couple little updates about where we're getting with the project. So, like I said, please fill out the form. Let us know what where your passions lie, where you think you can help. And if there's nothing on there yet, don't worry. Fill it out and say, I don't know, but I'll hang out. And if I see somebody that says, hey, I need such and such, can anyone help? And it's something I know how to do, then I'll say sure. And there's no, like I said, with access to these tools being gifted to us in this sense, there's no pressure to, put too much thought into who joins. If you have the inkling to help, please reach out. And if you want to just stay in touch and be a fan and get the notifications and all that, we'll have a Discord up next week that everybody can share in, and it'll be a lot of fun. So with that, I'm going to say thanks again, everybody. I really, really, really appreciate everybody's time and seeing the same names and new ones every week. It's just been fantastic. So see you next week. Same bad time, same bad channel.